Welcome to Psychic Bent. My name is Carrie.
And I'm Kim. We are two sisters wanting to help other psychics learn and grow in their abilities and to help educate about spirits, angels, and everything psychic. Welcome to Psychic Bent. We are so happy you have joined us for the final episode in the series, The Clairs. This is part 4, Clairsentience, Clairalience, and Clairgustance. Okay, so the next one that we will be talking about is clairsentience. Clairsentience is where you feel the emotions and energy of other people, places, and things. People with this clair, they feel the feels. They feel the emotions of people, especially, and they feel their energy. Empaths have this clair. This is like one of their big ones. It's like having the sixth sense or intuition. Sensing energy around you includes what's beneath the surface of someone. So it's not just you're feeling their vibes or whatever, but you're feeling what's inside them as well. Physical sensations are also a sensation you can feel. So you can sometimes feel what they're physically feeling. If you have clairsentience, learning to set boundaries and protection around yourself are very important. This will allow you to let the emotions or energy that you want to let in and keep the others out. Okay, so some of the signs of being clairsentience. You're feeling the vibes around you. You walk into a room and can sense the emotions and energy of the room. Anything from conflict, joy, negative, or positive energy. These energies can be from the past, as in residual energies or emotions, or the people currently in the room or space. I personally can walk into a room and decide by looking around and feeling what's going on around me that I may not want to go over there and sit with this group over there because it might feel a little heavy, like that's not necessarily the group that I want to sit with. I look for the positive energy and feel. And that's where I usually try to go. And typically, if there's children around, that's where I like to go because they put off really good energy.
I look for the cat.
Of course you do.
I look for the cat. There's got to be an animal here somewhere I can play with.
Right. Now, clairsentients do feel drained when they're in large crowds. You feel overwhelmed and drained because you end up feeling the emotions and leftover energy of the people around you. This is where boundaries and protection come in handy. It's funny because whenever I'm in large crowds and we're trying to get to a place, my husband just hangs onto the back of my shirt and I am walking as fast as I can in and out, weaving out of that crowd because I feel overwhelmed being in a tough crowd. I always feel that what is around me. And it is overwhelming. So I find a way to get to the side, to the front, and we're good to go.
You know, I'm going to break in here real quick. I saw a meme on Facebook a couple years ago, and I think I sent it to you, but it showed someone dressed in like an astronaut gear. And the comment was, empath on the way to Walmart. It made me think of you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Oxygen's on, the helmet, everything. I'm good. No one's getting through.
I just wear the hazmat suit. We're done. Good to go. Having a reaction in your stomach, as you described with the claircognizance, clairsentients also experience that kind of flutter or reaction. When you meet someone and experience that kind of reaction in your stomach, you instinctively know they are not what they seem and that their intentions aren't as they are presenting. Now, I had this happen. My husband worked for a company and we went to the company party and he wanted me to meet his boss. He had always talked about his boss and I've always heard the boss on the phone, but we've never met. And so I was introduced to him. I shook his hand and told him I was pleased to meet him and whatever, had this small talk conversation. And then the man went and on his way. And I told my husband told him off to the side. I said, do not trust that man. I just get the feeling that he's not who he is. He's a shyster or something. I'm getting that feeling from him. He is not someone you should trust. And we found out later on, a couple years down the road, that those feelings were correct. And he no longer works for that company because the man was a bit of a shyster.
You actually shook his hand. You actually shook his hand, huh?
I even shook his hand too.
I don't like to touch people because then you get more downloads. I'm like,
yes. Well, it was actually a good thing that I did, because then it
you
felt
to.
it.
Yeah, you needed to.
You know what I'm saying? I had to.
Yeah. You were probably
normally I do.
You're probably being prompted by spirit to shake his hand so you could get the feel.
Yes, because I was getting the emotion or the energy from him that I don't know here. This is questionable. But once I shook his hand, it was like, no, this is someone you do not trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be pleasant. But I did actually shake his hand, and it confirmed what I was feeling. Do you have any examples?
Yeah, it's funny. All my friends know that don't touch me. Don't touch my stones I'm wearing. Big faux pas there. Don't touch my stones. Yeah. but like, even if I have a brush, accidentally brush arms with someone passing in the hallway or something, or in a closed space, I always have to clear myself. I have to release their energy. And I think that because this is one of the most common clairs, I feel personally one of the most common clairs, and it's the one most overlooked because how many people ignore their gut feelings?
Oh, yes.
You've got that gut feeling, and you're like, well, they seem like a nice person. I might be wrong. That's usually when you get fooled by the narcissist, but because you're not, following that gut feeling.
You're using the head, the left side, not the.
You're being left-brained.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think because this is one of the most common clairs, that is very important at the, after an encounter, to release what energy is not yours. Because you will have a problem with this particular clair, especially as an empath, that you're holding everybody's energy. And I always find after I leave an area that doesn't feel good, or feels like there's possibly been a conflict, or just emotions and feelings, I'll start to act like that sometimes because it's not my feeling. So I just release.
Right.
I just do a mental, I release all energy that doesn't serve me or doesn't belong to me, and I call back my energy. Because in an instance, you left some of your energy with him when you shook his hand.
True.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting their energy, if you're getting their energy, they're getting your energy. There we go.
Exactly. And you don't even have to touch them, but you're interacting with them. And your psychic vampires love clairsentient people, love empaths, because they're constantly taking your energy. Because usually it feels good. They like that energy. So, and you may not be aware that that's happening. So I think that this particular clair is very important, because you need to understand how this clair works. And it has a lot of bad things that go with it sometimes. And, because, I'm an empath, Kim's an empath, but we're two totally different empaths. And,
yes.
That's a podcast for down the road, an empath. But having said that, is my empath abilities lay more with animals, and I could tell when I get off people, but Kim's is more of the amped up energy, feel everything from head to toe sensations.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's kind of funny because we were talking about this off line, and I was just like, wow, I had no idea that you had it bad.
Yes, I do. So I'm working on it.
So keep in mind there's different levels of your clairsentience, and if you're an empath on top of it, then it's going to act a little more amped up for you.
Right. There are a lot of anxiety attacks that can happen when you're a clairsentient and an empath.
And that's where grounding really comes into play, and we'll talk more about grounding in another episode. But grounding's very important if you are clairsentient and an empath.
Yes.
And meditation, you do ground in meditation. Earthing, and I'm sorry if that's something you're going to go over, Kim. Earthing's very important when you just go outside, take your shoes and socks off, and walk in the dirt or the grass.
Right.
You need to be very particular with this particular clair just to protect yourself.
That's true. You do. You can also experience environmental sensitivity. Some changes in the environment, they can change your mood and your feelings. Clutter can make you feel mentally cluttered as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And emotionally cluttered. Yeah. And movies affect you deeply. Oh, my goodness. Don't get me started on that one. But you find yourself emotionally drawn into the world of the movie. You feel the feelings of the characters deeper than people watching the movie with you. So if it's a sad one, you're crying right along, if not more than what they are. And I tend to distance myself from those teary movies because I don't enjoy that feeling, feeling those feels.
On another note, with watching movies, you also can find the flaws in the movie.
Oh, yes.
They just jump right out at you, and you're looking like, well, didn't you see that? I'm like, no. I'm like, it's obvious, and that's your clairsentience. I mean, things just pop out at you. My mother loved, absolutely, or our mother loved, Amish Hallmark shows.
Yes.
She absolutely,
and books. But...
yes, books. She loved them and enjoyed them, and I accidentally ruined one for her because I'm sitting there watching it with her, and it's the Amish woman is hanging up clothing on the clothesline outside, and someone comes and gives her bad news, and she drops her basket and in shock and reaction. Well, there's bubble wrap that popped out of the bottom of the basket. I'm like, I don't think Amish people had bubble wrap, or I don't think they have it in their laundry basket for sure. When did she wash that? I was going to hang it, and my mother never saw the bubble wrap. She was all in watching the woman's reaction and everything, and all I saw was, Mom, there's bubble wrap. She had to rewind it, and there it was. She's like, oh my gosh. I said, you would think that someone would have edited that out or done something. But yeah, she said I ruined it for her because every time she watched that movie, she saw bubble wrap. But she had watched it, I don't know how many times before.
Countless.
Yeah, that's how much she enjoyed that movie. But so as being clairsentient, you will see things that nobody else, because you just feel it, like something's wrong there. Wait a minute,
something wrong's there. Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
So it can have that kind of problem with movies as well.
Right. Yeah. So you can also sense spirit energy when you're alone, and since you are not alone, then that means that you are probably picking up on a spirit's energy.
Yeah, I usually know when the spirit's in my house.
Right.
I usually can tell they're there. I feel them when they're here, and if I don't see them.
When I worked at a bank, that was haunted. There was at least one spirit there, and I always felt when she was coming into the room, you could just feel her. But I think she was somebody that was like a housekeeper that cleaned the building, because I would really feel her in the hallways up where the other offices were, and you could just feel she's walking down doing her job. This is that feeling you get when you are walking along and you suddenly have the desire or need to look over your shoulder. You are sensing something is there. Known as sensitive for your empathic side, people tend to call you too sensitive about situations or have too much empathy. You have the ability to understand and share the feelings of others.
I think that that helps you when you're around someone that you're going to know. You just feel that they're not open to a reading. Because I did a reading for a woman. It was an impromptu reading, and her husband was with her, and she said, well, can you read him? And I said no, because I felt him close off. Mm-hmm. I could feel it, and that helped, because it's just like, no, I wasn't even going to try, because what's the point? But that helped me to, I'm like, no, just only have messages for you today, you know,
No
because,
2 for 1 today.
well, no twofer. But he didn't want red, and he was very uncomfortable with it, you know, and I could feel
Right.
that. I could feel that just coming off him. So I gave him very little attention, and he liked that. And that's where that clairsentience is going to come in handy with you. You just know, okay, I'm just going to give this person a wide berth. Okay, you know, because you could
Right.
tell
Right.
they're just what they're shooting off. That energy is just like, okay.
Now, clairsentients also share others' pain. This allows them to be able to give comfort and understanding to someone. You feel their aches and pains in your body that seem to belong to the other person. And when you are near someone who is anxious and not displaying this outwardly, you might experience a tightening in your chest or a reaction in your stomach. And this will help allow you to help ease their anxiety by taking it in and sending it back to them in comfort and understanding. And then you release the connection between you and them.
That's very important. Releasing the
Yes.
connection.
You have unexplained mood swings. And this is something I experience and Carrie has witnessed many times. You pick up on the emotional waves around you by having sudden changes in your feelings for no apparent reason. It is something that I am truly currently working on to limit in my life. I have to ask myself, is this really what I am feeling, or does this belong to someone else?
Yes, and that's
I
huge.
pick,
That's huge. Ask yourself,
yes,
is this my feeling or someone else's?
because I experience that between my daughter and I. You know, I'll pick up on when she's really nervous about a show that she might be doing, or she's excited about going on a trip, and I have to think, okay, this feeling in my stomach, is that mine? Or is that hers? And, I have to distinguish. If it's hers, I'm like, okay, I get it. You're nervous. Calm down. You'll be fine. And then I release it.
You know, and I think it's very important also to have boundaries when you're clairsentient. You know, sometimes you just need to say no and have those boundaries. You know, you want to come over, we're having a party. No, because I don't want to feel what you guys are feeling. I don't want that. You know, I don't want to deal with it
Yeah,
today.
that's true. Yeah.
And I'm awful. I'll make plans to go do something public, like one of those paint and sip places, and the day of, I don't want to go. I go, but I don't want to go. So it's like, that's the clairclentience in me going, you know what? There's going to be people there. What were you thinking?
Exactly. What? Why?
Okay, I'll go, but I don't want to go.
But then again, that's you're trying to get your creative side and
Yes.
possibly taking the emotions and such that you have taken in and releasing it into this creative avenue that you're going into.
Yes.
And as a clairsentient, you can't watch the news. Watching the news causes you to feel very emotional about world events, sadness, fears, and bad vibrations because you pick up on things. You're so attuned to the emotions and energies of what's going on in the world that those things can affect you. And that's the whole clairsentience has to have the boundaries, the grounding, and the protection.
Yes. Very important.
Mm-hmm. You can sense when someone's having a good day or a bad day. You can even notice temperature shifts. You walk in a room and suddenly you feel temperature changes, even though the doors are closed. It's that you're being attuned to these shifts in the energy around you. Because energy's everywhere. It's in it's in everything. And as things shift energy wise, it could be spirits coming into the room, putting off their energy. It could be residual energy that you're picking up on from that room. And nature calls to you. You are drawn to nature, such as beach, mountains, forests. You feel at peace and rejuvenated and connected to the energies of earth. Now, this is where the grounding comes in, walking outside in your bare feet. And sometimes, if you're inside and you can't make it outside and you need to make that connection and that grounding, you can do that by visually picturing in your mind's eye. You have roots coming from your feet and going down into the ground, and try to absorb the energy to rejuvenate you and help you calm and protect yourself.
I love that technique because that's something you could do in the office.
Right.
Just kind of take a couple deep breaths, uncross your legs, put them flat on your feet flat on the floor, and just real quick visualization, and that could just change your whole day.
Right. Because I imagine that in being in like a big city, there's a lot of concrete around. There may not be that little patch of grass you can just go out to and put your feet on. You have to be able to visualize that as well. You have a sensitivity to energy shifts. You can sense changes in the atmosphere immediately without anyone telling you. This helps with social situations with heightened awareness. Clairsentience experience touches by something that isn't there. You may feel gentle touches like a hand on your shoulder or a brush on your cheek or even a tap on your arm. These are gentle reminders of your connection to the spirit realm. One example that I have of this is I was at the bank where I worked years ago, and I was standing in a room with talking to someone, and there were there was a door to my left, there was a door behind me, which was the fire exit, and then there was an open doorway to my right. And I was talking to her with my back to the fire exit. It was a closed door fire exit. And I was talking to her, and all of a sudden I felt a tap on my arm, and I heard Kim, and I turned around to say, "Hey, what's going on?" And there was nobody there. There wasn't the sound of the door. I didn't see the person go out the open doorway. And the person I was talking to also looked over there because of my reaction to being tapped, my name being said, and me saying, "Hey, what's going on?" And there was nobody there. So that is clairsentience of feeling a touch on my shoulder.
I have an example of that. It's a little bit different. I have weird allergies. I have a lot of intolerances, and which was part from, to me, shutting down my abilities decades ago, and this is where I'm going through that healing journey. And my allergies aren't like normal allergies. It's like after I eat something, it's as my body's digesting it, then I have a reaction, and sometimes you never know what that reaction was from. Well, I'm in bed one night sleeping, obviously, in the middle of the night. It was probably around 1:30 in the morning, and something grabbed my leg right in the shin area,
Hmm.
which startled me awake.
Uh-huh.
Because, yeah, I have a rule in my house, because it's haunted, we don't touch. We don't touch. That's just the rule. And they have certain times when they can communicate, and I need my sleep. So that's one of the ground rules is we don't touch. And when I'm sleeping, we don't interfere. So I was startled, expecting to see someone standing at the foot of the bed. That was that strong it was a hand. It felt like a hand gripped my shin. And I woke up and I sat up. No one's standing there. And then I realized I was in the middle of an allergic reaction.
Oh, wow.
And I got up, got a Benadryl, and we had to go to the emergency room. So that was a situation where that was strictly clear feeling, but
Mm-hmm.
I was having an issue and I didn't realize it, and they were helping me. I don't know if it was an angel that did it. Something grabbed my leg, jarred me awake, which, I mean, come on, someone grabs your leg, you're wide awake. And then off we went to take care of business. But
Right.
it was
Wow.
it was quite the I was being looked after very well
Yes.
that day,
Yes, you
that
were.
night. Yeah.
Yes, you were. Clairsentients can perceive it and interpret energy fields surrounding individuals. They can sense shifts, colors, or imprints in a person's aura and provide insight into their emotional and energetic state. And we probably will go more into auras in another episode as far as our psychic tools. How to cope with clairsentience. You have to embrace your gift. Accept that you have this gift with gratitude. It will help you stay on track. It will also help relieve the anxiety and the fear that comes with being clairsentient. And once you embrace it, then you're to use that gift to help other people understand what they are feeling and sensing, and be able to give them messages about themselves. You understand feelings. Learn to tell the difference between your own emotions and energies and those from others in the environment by meditation and asking yourself if these feelings are truly yours. And I do use the phrase cope with clairsentience because sometimes sometimes when you first start understanding that that's what you have, it does feel like, oh, why me? Why is all this happening to me? Why am I always feeling this? Why am, and you should learn to embrace that the gift is there and it's trying to help you learn from these feelings that and emotions that you are experiencing. You need to try to connect with others that have the same type of clairsentience that you have. Having a social network around you, people that can provide validation and support and say, yep, I have that too, and this is how I have come to overcome the bad. They can help give you ideas and suggestions on helping you through with your protective bubble whenever these certain situations arise when you become overwhelmed.
I think it's very important to find your tribe. I'm going to say that. Very
Yep.
important to find your tribe. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's so important.
Yes, I agree. And then set boundaries. Establish energetic boundaries to prevent yourself from becoming overwhelmed with external energies. Visualizing a white ball around yourself and setting the boundaries of no energies or emotions allowed inside until I ask for them to come in has helped me greatly and has kept me out of hiding in the feminine products aisle at the grocery store when I get overwhelmed. Yes, I used to hide out there along with the incontinence product aisle. Nobody goes down those aisles. So when I would get overwhelmed, that's where I would hide before I learned that there is a way I can make myself go around the store with this protective bubble to keep everybody's extra emotions out. Because you're picking up not only the emotions of people, you're picking up the emotions and energy all around you.
I've received many a phone call from Kim in the feminine hygiene aisle. Help me, help me.
I am
I'm
so
like,
overwhelmed.
I'm like, you're in what aisle? Why?
It's
I
so
would think there'd be
true.
a lot of emotion in that aisle. I'm just like, why that aisle?
Well, that's where you go to ground yourself to recoup because nobody goes there.
So if you see a woman lurking in the feminine hygiene aisle, just say, "Hey, Kim," keep on going.
I'm doing better about not doing. I'm doing better coping with that one to build my bubble.
Well, that's part of your journey, though. I
Yeah, that
mean,
is. That
that's part of
is.
your journey.
Yes, that it is. And express creativity. Being creative and working with crafts, art, and things like that will help you process the emotions and energies you are absorbing and help you channel that energy back into that creative outlet. And then journaling, write down your experiences, feelings, and insights is a powerful tool to help you navigate your feelings, the emotions, and gaining clarity about yourself and life. And then meditation and music. Meditation helps you center yourself and filter out external energies. Listening to soothing music for meditation creates a calming atmosphere, which allows you to release the anxieties, other emotions, and energies you have accumulated. Now, I have to watch the music that I play because there's some music that my mind cannot process, and I get overwhelmed with that even. So if it's like hard rock and some other types of loud, chaotic music, or what I call chaotic, that doesn't soothe me. That makes it more anxious, and I just shut down if it's something that I my brain can't. So find the music that works for you. Others may find that relaxing, but just find what works for you to allow you to meditate and put that calming atmosphere so that the anxieties can go away. Play music, explore various instruments like singing bowls. It allows you to express your emotions through the music itself.
Well, singing bowls will also help you raise your vibration too, which is very important for psychic
Mm-hmm.
development.
Use your gift to help. The ability to empathize and feel deeply can provide insights and supports for others. You can actually use your empath abilities to comfort those that need a helping hand, or that need emotional support, that needs to just tell you their story, because you're going to listen and you can empathize with them and understand where they're coming from. Many times, whenever I was in banking, I would be helping someone and they would just have to tell me what was going on that day, the whole day, or how they were feeling, or their life story, because they knew that, or they felt that I was someone that could take that from them and listen and understand. And then you give that understanding back to them. And then when that's all finished, then you have to release the energetic ties. So after helping others, release their energy back to them. Visualize you disconnecting from the other person's energies and emotions. And as we've said before, call yours back with light and happy feelings coming back to you. Now, to grow your abilities, make your space positive. Clean your space and make it a comfortable and calming space with pleasant energy. Okay, so you want to practice to try to feel others' energy. And one way you can do that is get a friend and have them give you a picture of someone they know. Look in the eyes of the person in the picture and try to pick up their energy, the essence of that person, and try to figure out what their personality traits are. You know, that if they're a funny person, if what they may do for a living, and then tell these images or impressions that you're picking up from that picture to your friend and see how accurate you are describing that other individual in the picture. Experience with psychometry. This is sense an object's energy. So take an object from someone you don't know, close your eyes and touch that object gently. Try to pick up the emotions and the energy that is connected to that object and share the information you receive with the owner. It could be a message from spirit, it could be a message from a family member.
It could be residual, just something attached to that object.
That's true, it could be residual as well.
And it could be haunted. Objects can be haunted.
Well, that's another good point. They could be haunted object.
Could be haunted.
Now you need to find balance in the heart chakra, which is the center of your energy center, by meditating and doing yoga. You can begin to understand emotions and connect with your intuition and maintain positive vibrations. So you want to keep your vibrations up high while you're experiencing clairsentience. Then you have to have your nature connections by going outside to enjoy the park, beaches, forests, anything outside. Just enjoy the energy of nature, because there's so much positive energy that you can receive from outside, from animals, from the ground, from the sky, the sun, even the moon. Meditate regularly. Use guided meditations to listen to the music, or simply sit quietly in order to connect with your inner self and be more open to intuitive feelings. That's what you're trying to develop better, are the intuitive feelings that you are receiving from spirit. Get help from certain crystals, because crystals can be your ally to boost your abilities, bring clarity, love, and good vibrations. Some are fluorite, amethyst, rose quartz, and amber. Spend time with animals and observe their behavior and emotions. This can help you connect with animals and their feelings. This also helps if you are an animal empath. Learn about healing techniques such as Reiki. This helps you harness your abilities to detect energy imbalances and provide healing energy to others. Carrie, would you like to expand on this?
Well, Reiki is very important. It's light source basically coming through your body. And when you're giving Reiki, you have the light source come through you, and then it goes to the person that you're giving Reiki to. So basically, you're getting a healing with healing others as well. A Reiki session, I highly recommend anyone should take Reiki or get a Reiki session to experience what Reiki really is. My first one, I cried. It was just an amazing experience. And I asked the lady, do people normally cry? She goes, no, they don't. I'm like, okay. But she also told me that she had never had anybody suck up the energy like I had. And that, when you have this energy flow, it's wide coming through you, or it could be narrow, depending on what's going on in your life, how healthy you are. Different things can impact this. I've had several Reiki treatments, and I find every time I go, you almost always get a mini reading, which is always fun to find out what they see, because each psychic has different abilities and can see different things. So Reiki is really important to just do regularly to make sure you don't have holes in your auras, because people that are clairsentient have more issues with their auras because they're absorbing so much energy and emotions and feelings of other people, that it's very important for this particular clair, if this is your strong clair, that you really should get Reiki on a regular basis, just to help heal, get your chakras in order, everybody working good, and to basically get your aura where it needs to be, because you're usually overwhelmed so much. Even when you come in contact, help someone release the energy, that still leaves a little dent in your aura. So I highly recommend Reiki. Now, if you want to learn Reiki, there's Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and then there's your third level Reiki, where you could become a master Reiki. You get an attunement after your first one into the second. At the end of the second Reiki, you get an attunement with the Reiki practice. And Reiki is just basically touching people, or not touching, just having your hands over their different chakras and different points of their body. And the energy just goes to those locations. But a good key is Reiki's going to go where it's needed first, and then it's going to go to the locations you want it to go. But when you get the attunement, though, that can really ramp up your psychic abilities. So you do need to be aware of that. Very important. Very important.
Yeah.
Yes. Reiki can be done remotely, or it can be done in person, because you're dealing with sending energy. So whether the person's right there in front of you, it can be done. And we're going to do a whole episode on Reiki. But I highly recommend Reiki for anyone who has gone through emotional trauma or is having problems with their chakras, or their abilities or blockages and stuff. I really highly recommend it. But clairsentient, you need it. You definitely need it. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I've given Reiki to animals. Because when an animal loses an owner, they're traumatized.
Right.
And it's so much easier to give an animal Reiki, because you're basically working on an animal's emotion level, and they don't hold on to all the stuff that we do. They let it go and move on. So a Reiki session for an animal can take maybe 15 minutes. But so it's really good for everybody. But definitely if you're clairsentient.
So do you have anything else for this section, Carrie?
I would recommend this practice for really anybody, not just clairsentience. But if you're going to a haunted location, or you're going to a historical site, you're going to pick up feelings, maybe sadness, illness, despair for no reason. You're going to get a sense for what the people look like, dress like, and how they lived. And this happens because the spirit in the past is connecting with you. So I highly recommend psychic protection, like the white light in the bubble we talked about earlier, prior to entering a historic site. And then when you're leaving a haunted or historic site or a battlefield, you want to, prior to leaving the location, let the spirits know that they are not allowed to follow you home.
Oh, yes. So
This
important.
is very, very important. you don't want to bring someone in and then you have to do a clearing because you're not gonna know you did it till the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay,
Right.
right. Didn't mean to bring you home. You gotta go.
You gotta go.
And you don't want to do a cleansing in the middle of the night when you'd rather be sleeping. So it's very important, because like when I would go to the paranormal conventions, I had to do a lot of clearing. A lot of, no, you're going to stay here. Can't come home with me. I don't care where you go, but you're not staying here. It's like the bar's closing. You got to go.
You gotta go.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Just go. So it's very important to do that, to give you the self of just self-protection. It's part of self-care. If you know you're going to be visiting a historic site or if you're going to a haunted house, there's a lot of low-level energy there.
Right.
Especially if it's an actual haunted house like Halloween time. You definitely need to have the protection because it's going to be darker spirits and entities that are there of a lower vibration. So you want to keep your vibration high and make sure you're practicing psychic hygiene, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
by putting yourself in white light in the bubble and protection. And of course, telling them they have to stay there. They can't come home.
Good suggestion there. Clairalience is the next clair we will be talking about, and that is clear smelling. With this ability, you can detect scents and smells that have no physical cause. An example of this is you're standing somewhere in your home, nobody else is around, and all of a sudden you smell cigar smoke around you or cigarette smoke. You can have a memory, emotion, or see the future based on a smell. This one works with Clairgustance very closely. These two clairs actually work hand in hand with each other. It's similar to a dog's ability to smell and sense terminal illness and disease. Clairalients are able to use their heightened sense of smell when it comes to disease and illness as well. You have a highly developed sense of smell. I cannot even walk into those fancy candle and bath stores at all because the scent is overwhelming to me. So I can smell those things, they give me a headache. I can't be in there because
it's pretty powerful.
Because
it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. With this clair, you can experience a smell or scent that is very familiar to a deceased family member or friend. They are sending you a message to remind you that they are there. You could also, if giving a reading to someone, all of a sudden get the scent of something like hot cocoa. And you can tell this person, well, I smell hot cocoa. It has a different scent than what I'm used to hot cocoa having. Does hot cocoa ring a bell with you? Our grandma used to make the best hot cocoa, and I have not been able to copy that at all. But every once in a while I do receive the scent of her hot cocoa, so I know that she's there.
It was darn good
oh
cocoa.
My gosh.
Yeah, it was very good. And then she put the Cool Whip
yes.
on top. I was like,
yes, the Cool Whip
yes.
on top. Oh, the best cocoa.
Yes, I would always burn my tongue. It was so
exactly.
I wanted to drink it so badly. Couldn't wait for it to cool.
Wait for it to cool down at all. You could be sitting at a dinner with people. You have dinner guests, and all of a sudden you receive a scent of something that, do you smell that? And nobody else at the table smells it, whatever it is that you're smelling. Those are things that can occur whenever you're clairalience. Now, this next one is something that I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me. You experience sudden fits of sneezing that aren't related to an allergic reaction. As with clairaudience, and you receive the warning of, like, don't do this. With clairalience, it's your spirit guides and angels maybe trying to reach you through direct contact with your sense of smell. The sneezing fit will definitely get your attention. So pay attention and try to figure out what the meaning might be or what they are trying to tell you. I have this happen to me a lot where I can have a sneezing fit for a good 5 minutes, and it's not an allergic reaction or anything. It's just achoo, a constant sneezing. Well, someone's trying to get my
you
attention,
must,
and I'm not listening.
you must, you must really not listen. You need to
I
work on
need
that.
to.
If you're sneezing for 5 minutes, then you got an
Oh my
issue.
gosh, it goes on and on and on. It's crazy.
You're gonna get smacked on the head
Yeah.
next.
Take that board, knock me on the head.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah,
next.
so like I said, this one I definitely need to pay attention to. This Claire, I imagine a lot of people have this one. I think they do, but they just don't realize that that foreign scent or that unusual scent or that favorite scent is a message that they're receiving. I really do. I think that this happens more often than people realize. Now, how to develop this ability? Well, as with everything else, meditate. Practice meditation daily with smells you are already familiar with. Think of a smell, try to imagine what that is in your mind's eye, and then imagine that you are smelling it and feel the sensations you are receiving while you're smelling that. Another way is to avoid unhealthy habits. So try not to smoke. That could interfere with your sense of smell, or
And taste.
other unhealthy activities that could dull your sense of smell and taste. Crystals exhibit healing powers and powerful positive vibrations and can be used during meditation. These may help you open your throat chakra and your root chakra. The root chakra helps to stimulate the third eye. Red jasper, black obsidian, black tourmaline, hematite, and cornelian are a few that help with calmness, balance, grounding, energy, health, and confidence. The throat chakra represents spiritual energy center that regulates smell sensations. Aquamarine, lapis, and blue kyanite are a few crystals that help with truth, clarity, expression, creativity, wisdom, and healing.
On a side note with blue kyanite, if you don't want that with you when you're going ghost hunting, because it has a tendency of keeping spirits away.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Black kyanite is what you want. You want the blue kyanite to stay in the car so nothing gets in the car with you when you finish investigating and going home. But black kyanite will help you ground you and protect you when you are investigating.
Oh.
Random information trapped in Carrie's head. There you go.
Valuable, but random.
Yes, very random.
If you smell perfume or other identifiable smells of a person deceased that you know, they may be trying to communicate with you. It could also be that it is a spirit from the past that you are picking up the scent of, as far as like a perfumey smell. Pet owners who've had a pet pass, you may smell the scent of the dog. The scent of roses during prayer or meditation, that indicates love and often indicates that there might be the presence of a Holy Spirit or an angel around you. You can experience scents associated with places, a smell that reminds you of a place that you have been before. Now, as far as cigarette smell, I personally have had two different incidences with smelling cigarette smoke. My husband brought a TV home. Someone gave it to him, and he was all excited about having a TV down in the basement. So he took it down there in the bedroom that we have down there. And when he brought that in, I started smelling cigarette smoke. And I kept asking everybody, you smell the cigarette smoke? No. And then I started feeling that there was a male presence tied to that cigarette smoke. So tracked it down to the TV that was brought into the house. And I ended up telling the gentleman that he needed to go back to where he came from because we didn't need the smell of cigarette smoke in our house.
He really loved that
So,
TV.
He must have. And that could be why the people gave him the TV to bring home, because they wanted to get rid of what was tied to it.
That happens.
Yeah. The other example of cigarette smoke that I have is it's tied to my mother-in-law. She obviously smoked a different brand of cigarettes than this gentleman did. But I always know whenever she's here because I can smell her favorite brand of cigarette smokes, and it definitely has a different energy tied to it. She brings in happy and positive energy when she comes, like she's proud of us and how we're doing and such. Our next and last Claire that we will be covering is Clairgustance.
And I know some of you are going, thank goodness. They got to the end. I thought it would never happen.
Clairgustance is the clair for clear taste, and it is the throat chakra. You physically are able to randomly taste something in your mouth without putting something in your mouth. It doesn't have to be food that you taste. It could be anything that you could be experiencing. It tends to work very closely to Clairalience, as we stated earlier. Active Clairgustance is if you are, for example, in a reading and you are prompting or initiating a search of your sensory information for a sign for the person you're reading for. That is an active one. A passive one is just you spontaneously receive involuntary occurrence of the taste in your mouth of something.
You know, these last two clairs are probably the most not known clairs. But if you do have Clairalience and you do have the Clairgustance, then you do have mediumship qualities. Because these two, basically, if you have any example of either one of these, then you do have mediumship qualities. And not everybody does have mediumship qualities. So I would like to throw that out there.
That's a very good point. Having Clairgustance is you have strong intuitive reactions to strong flavors. You may experience a strong sense of revulsion or attraction to certain foods or tastes that you can't fully explain. You may be able to detect subtle changes in foods that you eat. Like if you go to your favorite restaurant and you get the same thing all the time, you are able to distinguish when there's just been a slight change in that recipe that just doesn't taste the same or as you remember it. So that's a way that you can tell that you have Clairgustance as well. So to develop this Clair, of course, meditate. Take time to meditate using breathing exercises to connect your mind and your body. Physical connections to the spirit world are important when using this one. When you are relaxed and calm, think about a food you really love that has a very strong taste and visualize this food in your mind's eye and focus on it. You'll probably feel the sensation of the food being in your mouth. It may even make your mouth water. So that's how you can practice developing that skill. And don't forget to journal. As you are journaling, write down the tastes that you are receiving and the emotions and feelings that are tied to that experience. Okay, I think that wraps up our episode on the clairs. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and all the information that we've provided. So our next episode is going to be, ooh, what is that feeling? When we will discuss empaths.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
May your light shine bright.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Psychic Bent. If you enjoyed Psychic Bent, please like, follow, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We can be reached on Facebook at Psychic Bent Podcast. Our email address is psychicbent1@gmail.com. May your light shine bright.